Our next presenter, Amber, has been with the NIDA CTN since 2015. She is a member of the Greater New York Node at New York University School of Medicine and has contributed to the CTN 51, CTN 51A2, and CTN 79 projects. She is also a research coordinator on the NIDA-funded ED-SBCM study. All right, Amber, all yours to begin.
Hi, everyone. Thank you again for joining this webinar, and thank you, Dagmar, for the introduction. As you can see in my profile pic, I do love a red lip. Okay, so as researchers, we understand how difficult it can often be to remain engaged with our vulnerable populations, especially when they are lost to incarceration. So now that we've established the steps that a study team should consider to include prisoners post-enrollment and how to create an effective prisoner SOP, in this portion of the presentation, we'll be discussing how to go about locating your participants who have been lost to incarceration. So our discussion objectives are locating participants who may be incarcerated, resources to assist you in your search, and then just some general tips for locating and facilitating contact with your incarcerated participants. So where should we begin if we suspect or know that one of our participants has been incarcerated? So our three key resources are the Locator Forum, online resources, and local and state resources. So the Locator Forum should be our first step. A comprehensive Locator Forum can provide clues as to where our participant may be incarcerated and help narrow down the search. So some questions that you may want to ask yourself as you're reviewing the Locator Forum are, which state is the participant originally from, and where has the participant mentioned spending time? For example, you may have recruited them in New York, but they're actually from Jersey and spend most of their time there. Another question the Locator Forum may answer is, where do the participants' locators live? This may also provide some clues as to where to begin your search. Another important thing that you may have captured on your Locator Form is, does the participant go by any other names or have any aliases? So one of my favorite past participants has 3 aliases, and he's been incarcerated under 2 of them in addition to his birth name. So it's important to know those things and ask about other names or nicknames that the participant may go by. And we'll talk a bit more about names at the end when we go over some general tips. Okay, so online resources. There are several reliable online sources to help you find a participant you suspect or know may be incarcerated. So VineLink is a great resource that you can search for inmates by state and find out important things like custody status changes and criminal court case information. What's also great about VineLink is that you can create an account, like I did, and register for email or telephone alerts to be notified of custody status changes such as transfers and releases. So if you're unfamiliar, this is what VineLink looks like, and I've whited out some of John Smith's information for confidentiality. So under his record details, you can find out important information like his booking date, his scheduled release date, and of course his location. You can also sign up for notifications, like I mentioned, and add inmates to your watch list. Other important online resources are State Unified Court Systems and the Federal Bureau of Prisoners. So in New York, the State Unified Court System is called eCourts, and it will be called something different in every state, but a quick Google search should help you out with that. eCourts can be used to track upcoming court dates. Keeping track of your participants' court dates can help determine the best day for a jail visit, because you, of course, don't want to schedule a visit on a day your participant has court. You can also use eCourts to view the inmate's list of charges and bail status. Now, if you really want to be a real private eye, eCourts can also be used to obtain your participant's attorney's contact information should you find it useful to reach out to him or her regarding your participant. And over here, the Federal Bureau of Prisoners can be used to locate participants who are in federal prison. So some other resources that you can utilize are state prisons and county jails. So sometimes VineLink isn't the end-all be-all and people can slip through the cracks, so it may be useful to also search through state prison and county jail databases if your participant doesn't appear on VineLink. If applicable to your study site, you may also be able to set up emergency department alerts so that your team is automatically notified if your participant is admitted as a prisoner or otherwise. Okay, so now some general tips that we'll go over. And there's just a few that I really want to highlight. So first, maximize the Locator Forum. So like we talked about before, a good Locator Forum should provide you with insight regarding where to begin your search. It may also be helpful to reach out to locators who may be in better touch with the participant and can get a message to him or her to contact the study team. Next, so when using online resources such as BindLinks, you want to ensure that all possible names and matches are generated. So I've had participants who go by their last name instead of their first name. They have alternate spellings, birthdays that are slightly different from what we have on file. And like I mentioned, you also want to search for any known aliases. And one last thing I want to highlight. So once you've located your participant, yay, it's a good idea to send them an IRB-approved letter at the facility to let them know that you're interested in conducting a jail visit with them. The letter may take a few weeks to reach them, but in my experience, participants are often really happy to hear from us, and they're usually like, wow, you guys always find me. So in the letter, you'll want to include 2 phone numbers so you don't miss the call, and also indicate what hours the study team can be reached. Encourage the participant to call the study team, especially if you're trying to coordinate a phone visit with a participant who's out of state. Establishing phone contact may be helpful in coordinating a phone visit. And that concludes my presentation, and this is how it can be contacted. Thanks, everyone.